The new Wishing You Joy Stamp TV kit is perfect for all kinds of winter holiday cards. But today I'm going to show you how to create a cute little Christmas tree ornament that not only makes a great decoration for your home, but is also a cute little gift. Let me show you the tools and products you're going to need to do this technique. First, you're going to need some ink pads, and I'm using the Memento Rhubarb Stalk, Tuxedo Black, and Desert Sand. You're also going to need a couple of the stamps from the new Wishing You Joy Stamp TV kit. Now here I have the frame stamp, and one of the neat little things about this frame stamp is the center of it is actually pre-cut. So you can remove this, and you can use this as a nice little background stamp where you want to stamp a light color ink and then an image on top. So save this for later on. This also eliminates any ink from transposing from the middle of the stamp onto your card. So that's a really nice new feature that we're doing. Then I'm going to use this cute little penguin stamp and the snowflake stamp. You're also going to need some markers, and I'm using the Prairie Berry marker from Bic Market. Then I'm going to use a couple of Copic markers here. I have Y38, which is honey, and R20, which is blush. I also have two Sakura Stardust pens. I have the Red Star and the Clear Star. And then a little bit of ribbon to make the hook for my ornament, some scissors, some pop dots, both 1/4 of an inch and 1/2 inch, and some nestabilities. And I have a couple of classic circles here, and then I also have the Labels 16 die, which fits perfectly around the outside of this frame. I'm also going to use a handheld punch, and I happen to have a crocodile, but you can use any kind of handheld punch that punches a circle. Okay, so to begin, I'm going to start by making 2 frames. I'm going to ink up this frame, and you can see I'm doing this with the frame on its back. I like to stamp bigger stamps this way because I get better ink coverage on my piece of cardstock. Okay, so that is all inked up. Now I'm going to take a piece of the Gina Designs Pure Luxury 120-pound white cardstock, and I'm going to lay that down right on top. And then very carefully I'm going to rub all over the surface of this piece of cardstock. I can feel the rubber under there, just like that. Next, I'm going to take, I already have one of these pre-cut, so I'll pull that over here, and I'll show you how I did that in just a minute. So that's my second one. Then I'm going to make a penguin. I'm going to need 2. So I have another piece of the Pure Luxury cardstock, and I'm going to stamp that in black. And I've already done another one of these for the other side of the ornament, so I don't have to do it twice. Okay, so there's my cute little penguin. And next, I'm going to stamp around the outside of the penguin using this snowflake. And I'm going to do that using Desert Sand because I want that to be real light, and then I'm going to add a little bit of sparkle to it. So you'll see how I do this. Just stamp these all around the perimeter of this little guy. Okay, now my next step is to color him in, and like I said, I've already colored the other one in. I'm going to do him to match. Starting with the Prairie Berry, I'm going to color in his scarf. Now this is not an exact match to the Rhubarb Stalk, but that's okay because I'm going to lay down some red glitter pen on top of that. And when I mix that red glitter pen over the Prairie Berry, I get a nice reddish cranberry color that matches that rhubarb stalk perfectly. Okay, my next step is going to be to color in his little beak here and his feet, and I'm going to do that using the Honey Copic marker. Give him some little orangey feet. And then, of course, I have to give him some pink cheeks, so I'm using this blush-colored Copic marker just to give him a little bit of blush on his cheeks. Now, I'm going to pick up my Red Star glitter pen and just start it a little bit here. And I'm going to color in this whole scarf with red glitter. And you can see how that's mixing together, and it's the perfect shade of cranberry, or should I say rhubarb. Now while I have the red glitter pen out, I'm also going to color the frame here. I just want to give that a little bit of sparkle too. And there, now I'm finished that frame. And you can see that nice little bit of shimmer there coming through. My next step is to take the Clear Star pen, and I'm going to glam up these little snowflakes just by putting little dots in different little spots on the snowflake. And try to do it symmetrical. So I'm just doing the dots at the top of each snowflake. I'm doing this little center of the snowflake, and then I'm picking the bottom little V here of each snowflake, so that when that just hits the light just right, the whole snowflake will look like it's shimmering, but it's really not a lot of work to do. You're just adding a tiny, tiny touch of glitter. Cutting this ornament out is easy. You can do it all in one swoop by using 2 of the Nestabilities dies at the same time. So what I'm doing here is I am positioning the Labels 16 die in place, and then I'm positioning one of the circle dies in place like that. And then gently laying the C plate on top. I'm going to run that through the Cuttlebug. There goes the center. I can use that for something else. And here is my frame, all cut and ready to be used. So now I need to cut out my little penguin with the larger circle. Get him in the center and cut. And now comes the fun part, putting it all together. So here are my 2 frames and my 2 little penguins. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to I like to use the excess of my pop dots here. So I'm just going to cut a little strip like that, and then cut 4 little pieces like that for the first one. And I'm going to lay one here, one here, one here, and one here. And then the best way to do this is to, rather than lay it down this way, position your penguin where you want him, and then just lay this down like that, and then press. And now that gives you a little bit of depth where the penguin is inside there, but you can still see there's a little bit of a frame around the outside lifted up. Now I'm going to do that to this one too. Now that I have my 2 penguin frames, I'm going to use some of the 1/2-inch pop dots, and I'm going to cut 2 of them in half. I'm going to flip that over, and right along the side of this larger circle, this circle here, I'm going to pop these pressed up against the circle like that, just on the 4 points. All right. Just peel off those little sticker backings. And make sure your penguins are facing the same way. And then carefully put them bottom to bottom and top to top. And press. Now you have both sides, and there's a little bit of dimension in between them. And if they're not perfect, you can always, peel them apart and kind of finagle them a little bit so they look exactly the way you want it to look. Then, taking your handheld punch, find the top and punch a hole into the center. And using a piece of the organdy ribbon that comes in this new kit, just make it into a little point like that and slip it through the hole. And then make a loop and pull the strings through the loop. This way it'll hang straight. And then make another little knot at the top. And of course you can be much more frugal with your ribbon. You can measure it exactly. I didn't do that beforehand, but you can measure it exactly so you're not going to cut off and waste as much as I'm going to here. But then you can just cut those two pieces on a little angle and you have a perfect little Christmas ornament to hang on the tree. Several of the images from the new Wishing You Joy Stamp TV kit fit perfectly inside this frame, so you can easily make a set of 3 to give as a gift, or swap out the stamped image for a photograph of your children to make the perfect little stocking stuffer for Grandma.